So yeah, I showed up at the location that my grandmother's will said, and it was this rinky dinky old little house. Looked horrible, disgusting, but actually it seemed kind of homey. It seemed kind of oddly warm. There was a laptop on this kind of weird tool shed looking table, and I kind of checked out the rest of the place, straightening out the mirror that was kind of sitting there. Seems like it must be broken because I definitely don't think I'm a vampire, or at least I don't think so. My grandmother actually left me this because she always wanted me to flip houses, be a realtor, sell things, be rich. And frankly, she wasn't able to do that for me, and my mom and dad weren't able to do that for me either. So she thought the best way to do it is to do it yourself, which makes a lot of sense when you put it into perspective. With that said though, I read the mail that I had, and it seems like I already had a job. Something about an ex-boyfriend stealing a radiator. Don't even know how you steal a radiator in the first place. And frankly, I don't really know how to install one either. So it's kind of awkward, but still, I needed the job, so I took it. So I headed over to the house, and I began checking it out and seeing what I needed to do. The process was pretty simple, but I also had to clean up all of this mess that was made, and it was quite a bit. Didn't think this would be part of the job, but like Granny always said, I mean, it didn't hurt to get your hands dirty from time to time. But at the same time, I never really got into stuff like this. I'm a California boy, so I'm a bit pampered. I'd be the first person to admit that. But it actually did kind of feel pretty decent to get my hands dirty, just a little bit. But there was a lot to do, and it would take me the first and the second day to completely complete it. After completely cleaning the house, I also installed the radiator, and that ended my second day, or the first 2 days that I would be working on the job. So there I was, from days 3 to 7, I more or less fixed up this house. I had to install more radiators, I had to fix up offices, I had to basically mount a ton of devices within this home, and due to the fact that shipping kind of took a little bit, and it took actually a while to deal with a couple things, and also, I'll be honest, I'm not super good at this just quite yet. It did take me quite a bit. It was a long process, obviously starting with, like I said, mounting devices like a radiator. But I also installed a mountable towel radiator. I'm a California boy, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, our cold is like 70 degrees. So at the end of the day, with this stuff, I've never seen this in my life, but this would be a lifesaver in my house, especially because it gets cold. It gets really cold. But after a ton of installations, from obviously the towel radiators to sinks to all this other stuff, I finally was done with this house, and I was able to get a bit of a payday, luckily, and I went on to the next job. Not gonna lie to you, I'd be lying if I were to tell you that this was my favorite thing to do. Yeah, I mean, getting paid to clean out someone's garage when it's obviously they haven't touched this thing in probably years is one of the most annoying things possible. It took me a couple days to clean out the garage and do some other maintenance things that they wanted me to do, but most of it was just straight up cleaning the garage. It was horrendous. Trying to get out those tire streaks was almost impossible, and frankly I should have charged them more, but I understood. At the end of the day, I know there are limitations to how much I could charge, and the real money really is when I start flipping houses, and I don't need to, do these miscellaneous chores, cleaning up stuff. But there's even some bigger paydays in the bigger size jobs that are out there, of course, because I might be a house flipper, but I can't just rely on flipping houses 100% of the time. I mean, I'll probably go broke. So for the next couple of days, from days 8 and 9, that's exactly what I did. I cleaned up a garage. I bit the bullet and I cleaned it up. I made maybe like $1,000, $2,000, nothing too insane. But at the end of the day, my bank account was looking kind of nice, and it was getting up there slowly but surely. But at the same time, hey, who was I to complain? I may have said that these are jobs, but at the same time, I am my own boss. If I want to, not do this job, I can decide not to do the job. And that's the fact of the matter. It's all about hustle. And trust me, Grandma raised an absolute hustler. From days 10 to 13, I actually started my brand new job. And this is a little different than my normal stuff because I actually had to paint the majority, if not all, of this house. And it was a bit of a struggle because I wasn't really the best painter in the world. But at the same time, it wasn't too bad at the end of the day. I will say, though, it did take quite a while to get it done. That's the whole reason why it took from day 10 to day 13. But nonetheless, it still was a pretty productive job and also made me quite a bit of money. On top of just painting, I also did something that I already know how to do now. And that's actually replace some of the sockets in terms of the electrical sockets and stuff like that. Pretty easy things to deal with. I was actually taught how to do that type of stuff when I was just a younger child. And did I lose a couple brain cells from getting shocked every so often? Oh yeah, 100%. But it turned out alright at the end of the day. My next project was a pretty nice one. It had a little bit of sentiment behind it. It was a loving husband talking about how his beautiful wife was finally pregnant, and I found that to be fantastic. I mean, I wish I could have a son or a daughter or any child at all, but unfortunately I can't because I'm criminally ugly and nobody will marry me. But that's beyond the point. Even though I'm dirt ugly, that's okay because I can actually make a beautiful room, do some painting, and more on in this household so that his child can grow up in a beautiful room. I mean, this place was pretty trashed. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty messed up. It was pretty dirty. Maybe they were out a lot, so it wasn't the biggest deal for them. I mean, I hope they were. Probably making bread on vacation or something, trying to get out of here. But yeah, I did my normal spot cleaning up the area, and eventually, after cleaning up a ton of dirt and trash, I got to, doing some painting and getting some other stuff within the rooms. The stuff would include a baby's crib and some bean bags, a couple shelves and stuff like that. It's nothing too insane, but definitely something to make a baby's room pretty nice, especially if you want to fill it up with books and stuff that you'll use while taking care of the child. From days 18 to 21, I had probably the funnest job I've ever had. And I'm not even overstating this. It was a demolition job. Yeah, I also had to build a couple walls, but taking a sledgehammer and just hammering away at these walls like I'm basically Triple H from the WWE, it was absolutely a blast. And I wouldn't tell them that because they probably think I'm a psycho, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a weak dude. So taking a sledgehammer to some things, acting like they're my neighborhood bullies, it really resonates with me sometimes. So I basically blasted through these walls, built up a couple other walls, and they didn't really want me to do anything else. It seems like they actually wanted to do the painting themselves. Didn't really understand that, but that's what they kind of told me later on. They said, hey, just build up the walls. You don't got to paint them. Leave them as brick. And I was like, hey, if that's what you want me to do, that's what you want me to do, as long as you pay me the same amount you're going to pay me anyways. In which, of course, they did. Got a little pretty penny. And frankly, I'm kind of building a bit of a reputation now. Kind of as this person that's like, pretty consistent, really good at what he does and stuff like that. And I'm honestly getting to the point where I'm going to feel pretty comfortable flipping houses on my own. Yeah, it's still going to be a bit of a journey and bit of a test for myself because there's a ton of different houses I have to deal with. But at the same time, it don't really matter that much. I'm making good money from doing this as well. And this is a pretty stable job in itself. So once I start flipping houses, it will just be adding on to the revenue. But with that said, this job would eventually come to an end, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. From days 22 to 25, I decided, why not? Let's do the same thing. This guy wanted me to knock down his walls and also do some painting, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to do just that. I enjoyed the last one, so nothing wrong with me doing it again, right? And frankly, they do pay me a pretty little penny, especially for how much I normally make at some random jobs. Yeah, I used to work at like this pizzeria. Horrible pizzeria, by the way. It was these weird animatronic things that used to try to kill me. Yeah, probably not the best job when you're trying to make some bread, because they were paying me $9 an hour with literally no benefits. Yeah, I'm serious. Zero benefits. And I don't mean to vent, because, I mean, I don't like, involving other people in these things. But I swear, they have like a bazillion lawsuits coming down on their throats. But for some reason, they're still up. Like, there's like now an amusement park or some shit. Like, really? They had a pizzeria that killed people. Killed night shift workers. I'm lucky I got out alive. I mean, after day one, I knew it was all a hoax. So I was out of there. They were paying me $9 an hour to more or less surveillance killer robots. Yeah, like I'm going to stick around and do that. But yeah, so I broke down some walls. It was fun. It was enjoyable. And like always, he put some more bread in my pocket. You guys know what I'm saying. And frankly, to break stuff for a living at this moment, it made me feel really happy that my grandmother decided to gift me this little house and kind of put me in the right direction to start doing the stuff I'm doing. And frankly, I couldn't be happier right now. Yes, I would love to sit on my ass all day and just watch Fortnite videos or maybe some Minecraft 100 days, but at the same time, can't really do that all the time, and I can't really get away with that, especially right now, so I have to, get off my own ass and make some money. And that's exactly what I was doing, and I was pretty happy about it. Couldn't be any happier about it. It was a good time overall. With all that said, though, I finished up the job, made my money, and I went on to the next thing I had planned. But then days 26 through 29, let's just say I saw the dark side of this job. The dark side of working for myself and taking on these jobs. It was pretty bad. I came across a bit of a, student household, and their parent wanted me to clean up. And at first, I thought, it's not that bad. There's no way that's going to be that bad, right? I mean, it couldn't be that bad at the end of the day, but it was horrible. I'm honestly scarred for life at the fact that I even had to do this. And I was, throughout that entire time, considering just leaving. It was disgusting. I mean, now I know how my mom and dad felt all 18, if not 20 years of my life, kind of just sitting there cleaning up after me. Because, I mean, I thought, oh, no, it's not that bad. There's no way that I'm this bad. But, yeah, I seen images of my room after this. It looked very similar to this. And I had to clean multiple rooms of this. It was pretty foul. I'm not going to lie to you. It was pretty foul. I might have thrown up a couple times throughout this process. And, yeah, it made me a little uneasy to even think that people like this existed. And I get it. You're students. You're probably partying, having fun. But, like, how do you even drink more when every single counter you have is filled with bottles, liquor, more cockroaches, everything you can think of. Everything you can think of. How do you sit there and you still drink more? I mean, you must be so drunk that you think that the entire place is clean. I mean, it was bad. Yeah, I did the normal stuff like, putting in a radiator and stuff like that. But that didn't even matter. That literally did not matter at all compared to how much dirt, trash, filth, everything that was in this house. And yeah, it paid pretty decent, but was it really worth it at the end of the day? Like, I might be scarred genuinely, mentally, physically. I might have trauma, PTSD for the rest of my life. I don't know, man. And even when I flip houses, I guarantee you that the dirt is not going to be anything near or even close to what I dealt with here. Anything close to this. After my insanely dramatic and traumatic and all of the above little job session that I had, I came back home, and for the next about 6-7 days, from day 30 to day 36, I actually just set up my room. I decided that I wanted to fix up my place a little bit. Yes, I don't necessarily have the nicest place in the world, but what's the hurt to fix it up? Fix up the radiator, maybe the bathroom, stuff like that. So that's exactly what I did from day 30 to 36. I changed a bunch of stuff in the bathroom for one, after I cleaned most of the house entirely. I also painted the inside and the outside of the house, and I made it a little bit spiffy. Not too crazy or anything like that. I mean, I'm not the best at what I do just yet, but I tried my best throughout this time to at least make my home feel a little bit more homey. And I'm not gonna lie, going to the bathroom in a room that is extremely gross, ugly, and just disgusting kind of also derived this whole idea of switching things up. And I'm glad I did, because it's a lot more comfortable in here now that I cleaned it up a little bit, did some painting, made a better bed, or I put down a better bed and stuff like that. Because, yeah, I was able to sleep, but I was finding cockroaches in everything that I had. And now that if I ever see anything dirty, it just makes me want to throw up, especially after that last job. So, after I was done fixing everything up, the house ended up looking like this. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's not the nicest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it's definitely something decent. I think Grandma would be pretty proud of this. She always liked this color, so thought it would be a good little touch. Bathroom looks good. Inside looks pretty good. Windows look clean. Yeah, I think this looks good. Door's nice. Maybe I can get a new bed in here. Maybe a new desk. I kind of like this desk though. Maybe a better drawer. I think the better drawer would be better. Yeah. I think that would be a good idea. You know, this house, it's not too expensive, not too crazy. It's a little office, but it's pretty homey now. Feels good to be in here. Yeah, feels good. So when I woke up on the day of 37, I actually saw a bit of a flirty message, but then I realized it was just so I could paint their house so that they can flip it. And maybe that's the loneliness kicking in, but you know, it's okay. I'm not that lonely, I guess. But with that said, this job went from about day 37 to day 40. I was super excited just to get this over and done with. I felt pretty embarrassed because I kind of sent some text messages to this person and realized that this person had no intentions of meeting with me outside of me doing work for them. And you know, I mean, that's completely fine. I'm not a creep. I didn't want to be portrayed as one. So I decided I would just get paid. I'd paint their house and I'd go on with my life, because maybe one day I'll have someone love me. Okay, well, this is getting sad now. I did paint more or less for the entireties of day 37 through 40. Maybe my my want for something different with this place kind of slowed me down quite a bit, and I wanted to milk some extra money out of this household. And you can call it what it is. Say that that's unethical. You can say that that's mean, and some may say that I'm just a hustler. And frankly, I'll go with the fact that I'm just flat out a hustler. And yeah, I mean, most of this time I spent painting, doing some other stuff within the house in terms of just setting things up, but mostly was just painting these horrible colors on the walls, which I'm not gonna lie, these walls look straight up like throw up. Don't understand why you would want baby poop / throw up as your wall color, but hey, I mean, to each is their own, I guess they say, right? Something like that. Days 41 through 45, I did my favorite thing that I love to do, and that's break stuff. Yeah, I know this looks like the person's house that I was just in for the previous days. I promise you it's not. I mean, at least that's what my lawyers have told me to say. But yeah, I broke down these walls, this very ugly coloring. Don't know why you would ever paint your walls this color by any means. But a lot of this was just me hammering down the brick walls, getting kind of an open area. I had a certain sections that they wanted me to actually wall off as well, but it wasn't anything too complicated. At the end of the day, most of it was just breaking. But I also did something a little bit new, something I haven't done this entire time, and that was kind of like this paneling. You would kind of take panels with this odd sticky glue-esque type of plaster, and you'd put it on the walls. In my opinion, really good for bathrooms. I think bathrooms with paint might look a little bit off, but that's beyond the point. Maybe that's just my own opinion, but you can take it with a grain of salt. With that said, though, I did some demolition, like I said. Beautiful demolition, as I love it so much. I had a couple other things that I had to do, like install a toilet, shower, stuff, a sink, stuff like that. Sell some things around the house, get some things set up. But it's kind of just a normal day at work, and frankly, my favorite day at work, because I love breaking stuff. Installations is one of my favorite things, and like I said, I did a new thing in terms of a little bit of plastering and stuff like that, and it was a pretty simple day at work for from day 41 to 45. This next job from day 46 to 49 actually hit kind of close to home. This had kind of something to do with someone's grandmother, and they wanted a bunch of things renovated, and that would include a workshop, an office, stuff like that. There was a lot to do in this house, but just hearing about someone else's grandmother, I felt like I just needed to push through this as quick as possible. Normally this would have taken me maybe 5, 6, maybe even 7 days sometimes. We're talking about a lot of things that needed to be installed, and a lot of things that I really couldn't do on my own, at least not easily. But I felt like it would be okay if I just kind of trucked through it as quick as possible. And that's exactly what I did. I had some sort of, I don't know how you would call it, kind of connection with what was going on. And renovating an entire room practically, selling a ton of objects, which honestly broke my heart that I was selling them, because I knew there was some resemblance of obviously a past loved one in this room. At the same time though, it was okay. I mean, at the end of the day, when someone passes away, it starts anew, and they go on to a better place, or at least that's what my mom used to say. And frankly, my grandma used to say that as well, all the time too. But not to get too sentimental, I did a bunch of selling for them, clearing out the entirety of the room, and I was a bit hesitant, like I said, but I cleared out the entirety of the room, and I started getting some more things in there as well. I built up a wall so I can separate the rooms, and I also began working on a bit of a bathroom. There's a lot of things to install, and it wasn't too difficult, but at the same time, when you're installing a mass amount of things, the shipping, all of it takes a while to get through. But luckily, I was able to speed up the process quite a bit, but I was able to get kind of like a washer in there, bathtub, toilet, shower, sink, stuff like that, and then also small little amenities like a toilet paper holder and maybe a nice homey round rug, and it came out pretty well. At the end of the day, I think the room came out nice and spiffy, and I think it would be a room that a grandmother can be proud of. After fixing up my house the way I wanted it, I went back to my favorite thing, and as you know, my favorite thing is to break shit. So that's exactly what I did. I broke a ton of these walls down. Don't worry, I had full permission from the owner. I wasn't just breaking off a bunch of, walls in my sort of ex-girlfriend's house or anything like that. And yeah, I got paid for it. I mean, come on, guys. Getting paid for demolition is probably the sickest thing by far out of all the things I could be doing. Yes, I did a little bit more than just demolition. I did sell some things, paint, all the normal stuff I would kind of do. But at the end of the day, the demolition is what matters. Hitting things with a sledgehammer over and over and over again. It was just so much fun. And this would be flat out the most fun that I have throughout this entire time. I mean, until way later on when I get to use something else that is maybe just a little bit more fun, but we'll get to that when we get to that, and that's later in the 100 days of my journey of flipping houses and just doing odd end jobs to, keep the food on the table. But with all that said, I finished up this house, did my my little magic and my pixie dust all over that house, destroying the walls, painting, selling things, installing, all of that good stuff. And yeah, we came out with one hell of a profit. And day 53 through 58, after that last job, was the first time I would flip an actual house. Yes, I helped with flipping houses throughout this time, but I bought a house that reminded me very, very, very much so of the Turtle Hermit house. Yes, this might sound weird, but there is something in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, an anime that I love so much, called Kame House. It looked very, very similar to it, and it seemed like there were a lot of people that were interested in this house. And I had to see what it was all about. I mean, other than the fact that it was on an island entirely, which, let's be honest, is sick as hell. But on top of that, what else is here? So when I entered to see that there was a little orb underneath something immediately, it was kind of odd because I didn't really think much of it at the moment because I was just like, oh, I want to pick everything up. In the beginning, I didn't even think that was a Dragon Ball. Yeah, a Dragon Ball. So all I could think about was, hey, maybe there's more Dragon Balls around here somewhere. So I got to cleaning because obviously that would be the probably easiest way to find the rest of these so-called Dragon Balls. I'm not thinking to myself that, well, I could totally summon Shenron or anything like that. Maybe wish for a girlfriend, but that may be out of his power, in all transparency. But I just decided, you know what? Let's clean this place up. Let's make it look spiffy and just see what I can do. And I'll be honest, maybe it wasn't my best work. Maybe I didn't do the best I possibly could have, and maybe I could have put even more days into it. But more or less, I cleaned it up. I made it look kind of nice, and yeah, I continued to kind of look around the house. So after doing renovations to the house, I found the last Dragon Ball, and I put it in. And I was like, dude, maybe, just maybe, the sky began to turn, and it was amazing. But I didn't see a dragon. Not a single dragon in sight. And it made me kind of sad. Because maybe it was Shenron's way of telling me, hey, there's no way I can get you a girlfriend. You're just too damn ugly. Or maybe it was just for the fact that we weren't living in an anime and that the sky was all a simulation and we were living in the Matrix. But still, I could hope, I could hope just a little bit. And that's exactly what I did. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for the way that I thought it would work out. But I did my renovations to the rest of the house, and I finally got an auction started. And here came the offers. And these offers were no joke. I mean, at the end of the day, I paid $90,000, and I ended up making a profit of $44,000. Absolutely insane. I obviously accepted that offer, and I made a $44,000 profit just like that. Let's just say day 53 and 58, or through 53 through 58 was, well, a very fantastic session of days. And after that, I decided, you know what, I would do some extra jobs and maybe I would even hunt for my next house to flip. The idea of flipping houses was really on my mind, so I decided, you know what, I have the money, let's get right back into it. So I bought a house that has an actual bunker, and obviously this clientele would be a little bit different than the last. I mean, the other people were kind of like vacation people. These people were like, hey, the zombie apocalypse is about to start, and I'm gonna need help surviving it. So clientele obviously very, very different than the normal clientele I have. And it kind of started pretty normal in terms of just cleaning. The garage that I more or less stepped into in the very beginning was kind of just dirty, dusty, and had to be cleaned up. On top of that, Of course, this is a house with a apocalyptic bunker in it, but it's not all about the bunker, baby. You gotta have some amenities. So I worked on, a bathroom for them and just a couple other things as well. But at the end of the day, the bathroom was the main feature that I added. And then once I went down into the bunker was where the real work would begin. And I'll be the first person to tell you, this bunker was pretty bad. I mean, in terms of the dirt, the trash everywhere, but also just what I had to do in terms of renovation. These people were kind of psychopaths, and the three of them were vastly different. Some were for comfort. They wanted beds. They wanted kind of a nice scenery and stuff like that. But this is a bunker. This is for survival. So it was kind of daunting to make something comfy, but at the same time make it more or less prepared. So I kind of leaned on the idea of what I would do. What would I want? For starters, I would want a ton of food. And it looks like there was already food here, but I don't really like the way any of these look, and it's kind of gross to have everything on the ground, and I don't trust cans and jars that have been left out for this long, especially not in an orderly fashion. So I decided I'd just renew all of those things as well. And that's exactly what I did. I got new shelves in, and I got a ton of food in. I more or less had just large quantities of water, food, and just different crates sitting out. For me, that was kind of the main deal, was food, water, just sustainability, but they also wanted some sort of entertainment, so eventually I would put up a TV. But for me, I also thought, well, you also got to have a little bathroom down here because, I mean, you'll basically die without one. So I made sure to do that as well, and it came out pretty good in my opinion. With all that said though, I also wanted to get some guns, some weaponry, anything that would protect you in here. I mean, dude, it is an apocalypse, so if it's a zombie one, you probably want some sort of weaponry. Yes, this did put a dent in my pocket, but at the same time, these people knew, well, it needed to be done. And yeah, maybe one of them was kind of like, well, I don't know how to even shoot a handgun, but at the same time, you need this weaponry. You need to adapt in the apocalypse, and that's exactly what's going to need to happen if you want to even survive. And eventually, after a long-winded journey throughout these days, I eventually finally finished up the bunker, and that was the main part of this home. With it all said and done, I auctioned off the home, or more or less this garage with a bunker, and I made quite a bit amount of money from it. And it was about the same as the last one that I sold, and frankly, I thought I did pretty well in terms of this bunker, and the profit margins were beautiful. At the same time though, there were some properties I wasn't too fond of eventually renovating and figuring out the prices for, but overall this was a pretty interesting experience. I will say though, dealing with the fumes down in the apocalyptic bunker was not a fun one, because it took me a couple extra days, maybe even 3 to 4 days because of that. This was kind of just gross. The fumes down there were not helping by any means, and frankly, it just was worse and worse and worse throughout the time. And I'm convinced that there's literally fungus growing on my lungs now, and let's just say that's not the best thing in the world. That still hurts my chest. But that's all that needs to be said. I made a $46,000 profit, sold the place for over $200,000, and I got more and more opinions. These opinions were, of course, really good to have, because if I ever in the future wanted to flip more and more houses, I could use these opinions to my advantage and use them to really coerce more money out of the people I was selling to. From days 70 to 74, I did another bunker. Yes, I know I just flipped a house just like this, but the guy was offering pretty good pay. Was the fungus and the horrible fumes really the best idea to go back into? Probably not. But the bunker, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't too too bad overall because it was just more or less a cleaning job and then a restocking job. So it wasn't too difficult in the long run. After finishing up days 70 through 74, I came out with a profit of over $12,000, about 12 and a half, and that was a large sum of money. From days 75 to 78, I went back to something I enjoyed, and I thought it was fun and all, but it's a little bit better than, getting massive amounts of fumigation within your lungs because you're, stocking up an apocalyptic bunker. So I went back to just painting some houses and doing some installations and stuff like that. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it was kind of peaceful. I'm not gonna lie, life has been kind of going fast recently. So going back to just painting, back to my roots, it was a nice time. It was really, really, really full of joy. It felt like it was simple. It wasn't complex. I didn't have to worry about what people were saying. I just came in, did the job, and I got paid handsomely for it. And at the end of the day, I'm getting paid quite a bit now because of the fact that people know who I am. People have heard how good I am. People have seen the houses I flipped, and they actually want help flipping their own house. So I started getting paid a lot more money because I was actually getting percentages of profits that people are making, and they were completely fine with this because they felt that with my expertise and my name tagged on to this house specifically, it would work out pretty well for all of them in the long run, and they would still make a good amount of profit nonetheless because I was only taking a percentage of the profit, not the entire thing. And I had a nice time cleaning up and painting this house, and once I was done, I got paid quite a little bit. From days 79 to 85, I bought and took a trip out to the Alley of Lights or Alleyway of Lights. And I'm gonna be honest, the trip itself kind of drained me. I didn't really want to renovate. I didn't really want to clean. So I decided, you know what, just for the sake of getting some money out of this place, because I wasn't going to keep it. I mean, I didn't like the bright lights. I didn't like how it was so weirdly futuristic. And for the fact is, a lot of my clientele were not out here. So I had to kind of figure out what I was going to do from there on. So I decided, you know what, let's just clean up the place. I won't do that much changing and renovation. Maybe I'll add a couple flowers here and there. But more or less for the day, from day 79 to 85, it was either me cleaning or me traveling back to the office, which took me at least 5 to 6 hours to do, which, I mean, anybody who's gone on long rides and long drives knows how bad that is. I mean, it's an actual hellscape driving that long. It's horrible. But the place was cool. I'm gonna be honest, it looked more like a laser tag arena than anything. So I was never a big fan of stuff like this, but I thought it was cool overall. I even turned on all the lights and I was like, oh, it's cool little techie stuff. That's awesome, but still not really my type of thing. But I could see how people may like it. But after I was done cleaning, I was able to make a bit of a profit. Was all of the driving and the painstaking being here in general really worth all the pain and suffering I went through to clean up this place and make a profit off of it? Probably not. I mean, I ended up making $16,000, and don't get me wrong, that's not bad by any means. But with how many positive opinions this woman had, the fact that I only made $16,000 kind of irritated the hell out of me. But still, it's okay. So from here on out, I decided I would just work some jobs that would get me paid a lot of money, because in the future, I wanted to invest in a large scale property, even if I had to get a loan. So that's what I decided to do for the next how many days that I do it. From days 86 to 89, I went back to painting. And it was a nice change of pace, as always. I love going back to just something calm, relaxing, painting, demolition, more painting, demolition, stuff like that. It's kind of just an enjoyable feat and just an enjoyable thing to do. And with the amount of people telling me they want my help to flip their house, it's kind of just a gimme at how much money I'm going to be making throughout this time. And I just continue to rake in the dough, more and more money, just as the reputation and my reputation continues to climb. Dang 90, on the other hand, it was a boring one. I'm not going to lie to you. It was extremely boring. because day 90 I had to clean out this garage, and it was actually for an old friend of mine. I promised that I would do it basically for free and that I'd work around their budget. But this garage was pretty gross. I mean, like, how do you let your garage get this bad? Nonetheless, I did tell them I would do it for practically very little amount of money, but that eventually would change into quite a bit amount of money because I wasn't going to clean this disgusting ass place for a tiny bit of money. I mean, come on, dude. Like, you seriously thought that I would do this for a small amount? My boy told me that it was just a little bit. It wasn't that bad. Come on. He just straight up lied to me. So me and him, we're definitely not boys no more. And I made him pay full price. I don't play those games now. I mean, I'm making money now, being successful. And frankly, I might give to charity, but I'm not going to, do charity work for people that don't deserve charity work, if that makes sense. I mean, it makes literally no sense at all that I would even do this for a cheap price. I mean, look at it. It's foul, disgusting, revolting. Yeah, it didn't take me that long, I'm not going to lie to you, to finish this up. Like I said, it only took me a day, but it was still a disgusting event. But luckily enough, I finished up and got paid the money that I deserved. From day 91 to 93, I took on a bit of a job to clean up a house that actually just finished up kind of doing stuff for Christmas. And I don't really understand this because supposedly they just finished up things for Christmas. But last time I checked, we're in August, or at least at the time of me doing this, it was August. So what the hell are they even talking about? They must genuinely be so drunk that they think it's still Christmas. But that doesn't really matter at this point. I told them that I'd clean it up as long as they'd pay, and that's exactly what I did. I cleaned up the place, made it all a little spiffy, sold some things, removed trash, cleaned dirt, added little Christmas stuff. Don't know why they wanted me to do this. Maybe they have a little like fake Christmas thing in August or September, or maybe they do Christmas early, like 5 months early. But still, who am I to judge, right? Yeah, who am I to judge? So like I said, I hung up a bunch of stuff like Christmas type stuff, put some Christmas gifts around the area. You know me, I'm pretty good at picking out presents, so it was pretty easy. But other than that, it was a pretty easy job, and I really enjoyed the snow outside. The snow was really nice, and I haven't seen snow in a long time since my trip when I was probably around 14 or 15 years old. So it was pretty nice to see the snow again, and it was a little chilly, a little cold, but nothing that a little bit of extra layers couldn't handle. From day 94 to 98, ironically enough, it's another place that talks about Christmas. Is this like a thing people do? Like you get set up for Christmas this early? I mean, personally, I've never done that. But to be fair, I've never really gotten set up for Christmas in general. But hey, whatever floats your boat, right? And I decided, you know what? Might as well go there because I get to be in the snow once again. And it was pretty nice the last time. But this time around, it was kind of annoying. Because they actually wanted me to more or less clean up the snow. And I'm not too big of a fan of that, but I had to basically clean up the snow around the house and do a ton. And when I mean a ton of stuff within the house. But the main thing was just cleaning up all of this snow. I've never gone through anything like this before, but it took me days to not only dig up this snow, but also fix up and also decorate all of these rooms. I installed a brand new bathroom to this beautiful house, by the way. It is absolutely gorgeous. And after I was done with it, it basically was perfection. And the price tag of the money I get for this house, well, doesn't really do the work I did justice. I'm not going to lie. Backbreaking is an understatement. But at the end of the day, it was a pretty nice place. And frankly, maybe in the future, I could live somewhere like this. But after I was done entirely fixing up the bathroom, all the rooms, I finally was completely done with the house and got the paycheck that I so deserved. Day 99, I decided to go back to the whole, bunker thing. And I decided, you know what, this was a pretty cool task, a laser tag in a bunker. That sounds pretty cool, at least pretty cool to me. And frankly, if me and my buddies had laser tag in a bunker, I feel like that would be extremely fucking sick. And there's no denying that. Like, come on, have you ever played laser tag in like a dingy place that just absolutely sucks? Imagine having all of the ability to like change everything, make it all dope. But with all that said, I actually found one of my favorite, if not the favorite thing that I would use for the next little bit of time. Frankly, sad this 100 days is basically coming to an end, but I was able to use a freaking flamethrower. Yeah, picking up trash absolutely sucks. So why pick up trash when you could burn all of it? Yeah, it is epic. Straight up burning all of the trash, and then it makes it so I could easily get through every single room extremely fast. I mean, seriously, I was having so much fun. The only issue is if you're not careful, you can kind of burn things that matter. You can even burn grass if you're not 100% careful with it. But still, it wasn't too big of a deal. Maybe it added a little bit of sweep up that I needed to do. But other than that, this was really fun. I had to shovel out some dirt, but that shoveling process wasn't too bad. I mean, it was very similar to the snow, and after dealing with that whole ordeal at that one other house, it was nothing compared to that other house, I'm gonna be honest. And this was so much more fun throughout this time. Yeah, when I say that I really enjoyed using this flamethrower, I wasn't kidding. I was straight up running through every single room in here, just shooting flames. Luckily, all of this was fire resistant because, you know, I probably would have blown myself up if I wasn't careful. But everything kind of turned out all right. And it cleaned up the trash that I had to clean up personally extremely fast. I went room to room just spraying my fire, and it was perfect. Destroyed all of what I needed to destroy. All I had to really do was just fill up the flamethrower from time to time. And after cleaning up everything, sweeping, picking up trash or burning trash, and setting up some nice meeting areas for future laser tag visits for whoever this guy is and his buddies, I was done with the day, and I was done with day number 99. And for day 100, I decided I'd finish it off with another apocalyptic bunker job. And I honestly enjoyed these. These weren't so bad. I mean, just the aspects of the apocalyptic bunker, how I can make it look so much nicer. Honestly, guys, it's kind of awesome. When you put it into perspective, I think all of us as children would have loved kind of like this man cave, safe haven / awesome place that we could just get away from. But at the same time, a lot of these people don't really want it for that use. They want it so that, you know, you could be safe if a nuclear bomb just blows up out of nowhere. Like, come on. Why would anyone involve nuclear warfare on a city? It's not like that's ever happened before. It's definitely happened before, huh? Well, that's beyond the point, okay? I would love for this to be kind of like a man cave. Imagine having like a whole gaming setup. Imagine playing video games down here. This would be awesome. But obviously, people want it for their own needs. And having that extra bathroom down there, having other things down there. If you got the money, do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm trying to get right now. I'm trying to make enough money myself where I could deck out a whole place and it would be my ideal house. And maybe one day I'll get there. Maybe. And maybe one day you will all see me get there. But for now, this is day 100. And at the end of this job, I get paid quite a bit of money. And I finish up my final apocalyptic bunker of this 100 days. Now, with that said, these 100 days has told me a lot. Okay? Not only about myself, but about what I want to do for a living. And house flipping and being a house flipper has really changed my perspective on what not only my grandmother but my parents wanted for me. And taking on that extra responsibility really means a lot. So if you want to see my journey and more of what I go through throughout this time, maybe even another 100 days of what progresses on later, well then make sure to tell me down in the comment section below. On top of that, leave a like, hit the sub, do all that good stuff. And If you do that, maybe you'll just see another 100 days, but at least maybe you'll see some more journeys with me. And with the conclusion of this 100 days, I hope everyone has an amazing day, and I hope all of y'all enjoyed this video, because it took me a long time to make. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Have an amazing day, everyone.